Alrighty. Hello guys, it is Fate here. Today I'll be doing part 3 to What If Naruto was raised by Jiraiya and Tsunade. I don't think there's anything too special today, or too special to do today, so let's just right into it. If there's anything special, I'll just let you guys know in the comments. Like I said last episode, I've been liking this fanfiction so far, and honestly, I'm really excited for it. I think it'll be really good. Uh, leave some, um, Leave some suggestions in the comments, please. And that's all. Chapter 3: When a Toad Loves a Slug. Or why prophecies are always so damn cryptic. 2 years after the QB attack. If announced, or actually, first, just so you know, this will come out a bit later because I went shopping again. Yeah, that's all. So, yeah. 2 years after the QB attack. If an outsider traveled to Konoha, he or she wouldn't be able to tell the catastrophe that hit the village 2 years ago, caused so many property damage and took away many lives. The reconstruction efforts were already over. Most people had already stopped mourning their loved one and continued with their lives. Unfortunately, that didn't mean Konoha's inhabitants were more than accepting of little Naruto. People would often scatter whenever one of his three caretakers would take him on a walk through the village, often between murmurs. While nobody was stupid enough to risk the wrath of the Sonin by speaking of their opinions of the blonde toddler out loud, they couldn't be forced to show sympathy to him either. While the Totage and Slug Princess were outraged upon learning through Shizune that they had seen Naruto jailer rather than his foster parents, that they're seen as jailers instead of his foster parents, they had to admit it. Um, they had to admit it wasn't something logical or stupid to think. Or it wasn't something illogical or stupid to think. Both Sonny spent so many of their late night drinking sessions discussing ways on how to make the population stop fearing Naruto. Speaking of Naruto, taking care of him became an even harder task. Once the little Jinchuriki learned how to walk, despite his short, chubby legs, the kid was insanely fast, always running from one room to another, never taking a moment to stop. As I tried to keep him at bay with a baby fence, but he somehow ended up escaping. The only way to make him stay still for a prolonged amount of time was for somebody to play with him, and said person would end up utterly exhausted after an hour or two. Let me check my phone real quick. The fuck kind of question is that? Alright. Despite this, there was always somebody willing. Actually, I'll be right back. Alrighty, I'm back. Sorry about that. Alright. Despite this, there was always somebody willing to play with Naruto. The kid had talent to brighten the mood of anybody who spent more than a few minutes with him. And the few times in which three adults would be present at the same time were almost the most fun and pleasant, and the only ones in which Naruto would be the one to fall asleep first. And today was going to be one of those days. After ending her shift at the hospital, Tsunade headed home with a smile on her lips. Shizune has recently returned from a mission outside the village, and Jiraiya wasn't scheduled to meet one of his spies until tomorrow. The whole family would be together. She then stopped in her tracks after realizing the implications of what she was thinking. Wait, am I actually happy to think that Uriah will be at home waiting for me? And am I thinking of him as family? During the time that they had lived together, the two Sonin had only managed to repair their broken relationship, but they became even closer when they were teammates. The nights they spent drinking and talking about their issues not only was a good way to vent some steam, but to get better acquainted with I'm not sure if they mean acquainted with one another. She was starting to grow fond of the white-haired pervert. Hell, he had even been good on his word and hardly did anything perverted anymore, at least in her presence. But that didn't mean she was developing feelings for Jiraiya, right? Tsunade pushed those thoughts aside the moment her house came into view. It was time for a fun afternoon with Naruto. Hey everybody, I'm home, Tsunade said as she entered the house and walked into the living room. Oh, good. We were waiting for you, said Jiraiya's voice. Tsunade was surprised to see that Jiraiya wasn't with Shizune and Naruto as she had expected. The young Kunoichi and the blonde baby were playing with some toys on the other side of the living room. Jiraiya, meanwhile, was alongside two small toads wearing black clothes. One was oh my god, I can't talk. One was green, had gray bushy eyebrows, and goatee of the same color, while the other was a greenish yellow. Had a bulbous, bulbous purple head and thick purple lips. I literally cannot. um, sorry, I lost where I was. Oh, okay, found it. I believe you already know Fukashuku and Shima, the two great sage toads. Jirai said as he motioned to the toads. It's good to see you after so many years, Tsunade-chan, Fukusaku said. You turned into quite a lovely lady, don't you? Shima added. Fukusaku-sama, Shima-sana, it's an honor to meet you again, Tsunade said solemnly as she bowed her head. May I ask what is the reason for your visit? The great Toad Sage has requested you to see both of you and Jiraiya-chan. Now that you finally came, we must head to Mount Miyoboku immediately, Shima answered. We'll travel there via reverse summoning, Fukasuka added. Wait a minute, I don't have the Toad summoning contract. How are you going to bring me there? The slug Sonin asked. Don't worry, we have a solution for that. Please give me your hand, Fukasaku said. Tsunade walked toward the old toad and did as she was told. Fukasaku placed his hand on Tsunade's hand, closed his eyes, and focused his chakra. Sage art, seal of the toads, Fukasaku said as his hand glowed blue. Tsunade felt something tingling in the palm of her hand. When the toad jutsu was over, the kanji for oil, which represented Mount Miyoboku and was kanji on Jiraiya's forehead protector, was engraved on her hand. That's a special seal that will allow you to be reverse summoned by toads, as well as to summon any toad you want. It will only last 1 day before it fades. Before our current endeavor, it will be more than enough, Fukasaku added, or explained, sorry. Okay, we're ready to go, Shima said as she and her husband started the reverse summoning process. In less than a second, Jiraiya and Tsunade were no longer inside their house's living room, and found themselves in the middle of Mount Miyoboku. While Jiraiya had been there quite a few times, Tsunade spent some minutes exploring the immediate surroundings, marveling at the natural beauty of the toad's home. The place was filled with gigantic plants and mushrooms, beautiful flowers that she had never seen before, nor knew existed. Multiple rivers and streams flowed through the mountains. There were so many statues of toads scattered around the place, yet for some reason Tsunade found the place oddly familiar. The slug Sonin then realized what was Jiraiya's inspiration to decorate Naruto's bedroom. So, what do you think of our home, Tsunade-chan? Shima asked. It's amazing. The natural energy from this place is simply overwhelming. There's so much life. Would you say it's better than Shikatsu Forest? I'm not sure if that's how we say it. Ma, don't ask her such a thing. Don't you see you're putting her in a predicament? Fukasaku said angrily. Oh, Kaneta, it's not that we invite a non-toad summoner to our place that often, and I just want to compare. And, better or worse, aren't words that I'd use to compare both places. Guess that the word could be different, Tsunade said, hoping that her answer wouldn't upset the toads. However, she wasn't going to badmouth the slugs behind their back, just to appease their current host. So, you said that the Great Toad Sage wanted to see us? Jiraiya said, trying to get back on their current business. Oh yes, you're right. Come on, let's not make Gamamaru-sama wait any longer, Fukasaku said as he led the way. Like that senile old geezer won't forget that he wanted to speak with the kids in the first place, Shima scoffed. While they headed to see the spiritual leader of the Toads, Fukasaku thought it would be a good chance to bring up a certain topic regarding their only summoner. He hopped onto the white-haired man's shoulder. Jiraiya-chan, since you're here again, have you thought it might be a good chance to complete your senjutsu training? Maybe another time, Jiraiya replied uneasily. I'm kinda busy right now. Always with that excuse. Hey, I'm taking care of a baby right now, so cut me some slack. Were you taking care of a baby during the past 10 years as well? I don't need it, I already mastered Senjutsu. Fukasaku scoffed in return. Then you and have a very different idea of what mastering Senjutsu means. You need both Ma and I to enter and maintain stage mode. Plus, your control of nature chakra has plenty of room for improvement. Listen, I will finish my training, okay? I'll finish my training, okay? Just not now. I need to focus on Naruto first and foremost. I understand, Jiraiya-chan, but do not try to delay it much longer. The difference between incomplete and complete stage mode could mean the difference between life and death. After a short trip, the two toads Two small toads and the two Sanin were in front of Gamamaru, the great toad sage, who was sitting on a shallow pool. Tsunade eyed at the large red toad in front of her. Judging by the amount of wrinkles, warts, and nearly closed eye, it was obvious that Gamamaru was very old. Some said that he was so old that he even had met and advised the sage of six paths himself, though they were mostly rumors. Sorry, just keep checking my phone. Gamamaru-sama, Jiraiya-chan and Tsunade-chan are here, just as you requested, Fugasaku announced. Honorable sage, both Sanin said at the same time as they bowed before him. Ah, I see. Good. There is much we need to talk, Gamamari said, each word coming out of his mouth at a rather slow pace. I should have said that differently. Jiraiya and Tsunade waited expectantly about what was it that Gamamari wanted to tell them. They waited for a few minutes, but the old large toad didn't say anything else. Gamamari-sama, Fugakasu asked. Zzz. Jiraiya and Tsunade's sweat dropped. Wake up, you old geezer! Shima screamed. I don't want to do that ear rape again. Wake up, you old geezer! Shima screeched, startling Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Fukasaku, but apparently waking up Gamamaru. Let's see if my mic still works. Yes, my mic still works. Okay. It's lunchtime already? Gamamaru asked, disoriented as he slowly looked around. Gamamaru-sama, you wanted to talk with Jiraiya-chan and Tsunade-chan, remember? Fukasaku said once again, hoping to get everything back on track. Ah, yes. Listen, young ones, because there is a turbulent future ahead, both of you, and the little tadpole under your care, Gamamaru said. Because there is a turbulent future ahead, both four of you, and what the fuck is that supposed to mean? And the little tadpole under your care, Gamamaru said. Tsunade worry spiked upon hearing those words. I don't care what happened to me. Is something bad going to happen to Naruto? Young Naruto will have a hard road ahead of him. He will do great things and will meet terrible enemies. You will need to protect him from the said enemies as long as he can't take care of himself. We will, great sage, Jiraiya said with determination. Tsunade nodded as well. I have seen Konoha on fire. Divided against itself, friends will turn into enemies, sons will fight their fathers, and behind the fire a one-eyed demon. Be aware of him. Said demon will go after Naruto. You must protect him at all costs. I have nothing more to say. Return now to your home and meditate on my words, Gamamari said before falling asleep once again. Sorry, I'm drinking water. Jiraiya and Tsunade looked at each other as their brains processed Gamamari's ominous prediction, and what they could do to make sure everything was all right. Half an hour later, Jiraiya and Tsunade were sent back to their home, much to their surprise. They found Naruto crying his eyes out while Shizune tried to comfort him in a van. What's going on here, Naruto? Why are you crying? Jiraiya asked and frowned. Upon hearing his voice, Naruto turned his head around and looked at him. He stopped crying, and a sad grimace turned into the brightest smile that they ever saw. He wiped his tears and jumped from Shizune's lap and rushed to hug them. You back! Naruto said as he was scooped by Jiraiya. What's going on, Shizune? Tsunade asked, placing her hand on her hip. He saw you disappeared in a cloud of smoke and thought you were gone for good. I've been trying to explain to him that you would be back soon, but he didn't believe me. The young Kunoichi replied. Oh, my poor little kid. Of course he thought that. We left without even telling him goodbye, Tsunade said as she took Naruto from Jiraiya's arm. Forgive me, sweetheart. I promise we'll never do that again, okay? Okay, Naruto said, wrapping his little arms around Tsunade's neck. Alright, enough of that. Who's up for a game night? Jiraiya said as everybody cheered in return. After a fun and lively game night, Shizune and Naruto went to sleep. Jiraiya and Tsunade tried to, but they couldn't. Both of them couldn't stop thinking about Gamamari's warnings regarding not just Naruto, but the world in general. Like usual, they were in the living room, with a couple bottles of sake. So, Naruto's in danger from the one-eyed demon? Does that mean that we should be aware of any one-eyed people we run into? Losing eyes is quite common in our line of work. Jiraiya. Oh shoot, that's Jiraiya. Okay. Jiraiya commented as he emptied his cup of sake. My first choice would be Danzo, the leader of Root. The only person with one eye that I know is Kakashi. Maybe he was talking about him? Tsunade said. Uh, Kakashi has two eyes. Even if he only uses one most of the time, plus he's a nice kid, he wouldn't harm Naruto. He was Minato's student after all, and a huge fan of your books. And a huge fan of my books, yes, but I'm not defending him because of that, Hime. I know, I was just teasing you. Couldn't that old frog have been a bit more specific about this one-eyed demon? Some more hints could have been useful besides lacking an eye. First, Gamamaru is a toad, not a frog. Never call frog a toad. They don't take it very good. And second, Gamamaru doesn't have the context of his visions he gets. So all he can do is interpret them to the best of his ability. Well, the vision of his got me on the edge. He told us that Naruto is in danger, but didn't specify what kind of danger, and we can't protect him from everything. I mean, it's not like we can lock him down in his room or something. Even if you did, he'll always find a way out. He always does, Jiraiya mentioned, causing Tsunade to chuckle. But then again, there's nothing new. His parents, especially Minato, had a lot of enemies that would love to get revenge through Naruto, as he already has yet another bullseye on his back due to being the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Even worse then. What also worried me is part about Konoha being on fire. Do you think somebody is planning to attack us? I wouldn't rule that out. We're still recovering from the Kyuubi attack, which made a number on our forces. I'm hoping our presence here serves as a deterrent to any village who might want to invade Konoha. I hope so. We may not be the Yellow Flash, but the name of the Sonian still inspire fear among our enemies. And that part about friends turning enemies. Do you think that we may be betrayed by one of our allies? From what I know, our current allied village is Tuna, but even with our recent losses, they still lack the numbers of power and weight. They still lack the numbers and power to wage war against us, at least on their own. Maybe they can ally with one of the other three great villages, but I find that unlikely. Even then, maybe it would be a good idea to try to strengthen our ties with them. Pay them a village, mail some sake to Kazekage, stuff like that. Sake seems to be your answer to everything. Because it works. I mean, remember when we returned here, how we couldn't spend 5 minutes without yelling at each other? Actually, it was you who did most of the yelling, Dry said with a cheeky grin as he poured more sake on his empty cup. Yet they were, yet, yet when we started having these late night drinks, everything became far smoother. Now I'm even happy to see you when you're home when I get back from work. If that's not enough proof of Sake's miraculous conciliatory powers. Oh, of course, Tsunade said in realization as a huge smile forced on her face. What? That's how we can make everybody except Naruto. He only needs to go drinking with every villager here. Wow, even in my wasted state, I can still see how much that idea sucks. Tsunade's smile disappeared and was replaced by an angry frown. And why was that, smartass? Well, I might not know much about babies, but isn't alcohol like very toxic to them? We still have to wait about 16 years until he can do that. And even then he'll have to drink a lot in order to befriend the entire village. Damn it, I haven't thought about that. Tsunade said as she slumped on her chair and drank from her cup well again. Oh well, I'm sure I can think of something. I just need more inspiration. Hey Hime, do you think we had enough? Maybe we should go to bed. I will decide when I have enough. Now come on, keep the sake going. I have to forget that damn prediction from that damn frog. Toad, whatever. Tsunade-sama, are you awake? Come on, you need to get up. You're going to be late for the hospital. Shizune's voice awakened the blonde Sanin. The sunlight coming through the um, window felt into her eyes like being stabbed by burning hot daggers, which didn't do anything good to alleviate the massive hangover she was starting to notice. She could swear her head would explode at any moment. Yes, I'm awake, Tsunade said in a barely audible grumble. And stop yelling so much. The Slug Princess tried to get out of bed, but she couldn't. There was something that was keeping her from moving. Further inspection revealed that it was a rather large and definitely male-looking arm. She followed the arm with her eyes and just as she feared, the said arm was tacked to a naked man. A man with white hair she knew very well. While asleep, there was a very wide grin on his face. Taking into account the fact that Tsunade was also naked, it didn't take a genius to realize what had happened last night. Even if she didn't remember it, nor if she wanted to anyways, she wanted to scream, but her extremely dry throat could only persuade a cough. Just how much did I drink last night? the blonde Tanin asked herself in horror. Covering her naked body with the blanket, Tsunade tried to push the toad sage awake. Jiraiya, 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 Tsunade said as she rocked the white-haired man, each time with more force. Jiraiya opened his eyes slowly, blinking several times until they accustomed to the current light. He groaned, rubbing his head with one hand, effectively being a victim of a hangover, just as bad as his drinking buddy. He then looked at Tsunade, and his mouth formed a smile. Good morning, Hime, Jiraiya said absent-mindedly, then slowly but surely the more aggravating elements of the situation started to sink in. Upon realizing what was going on, he looked at Tsunade's barely naked form with his eyes wide open as his face turned red. Whoa, what the hell? What happened? Trust me, I feel the same. We can talk about it later, and make no mistake, we will talk about it. Now get out of here before somebody sees us, Tsunade said, panicked. Right, right, Jiraiya blabbled as he hastily started to pick up his clothes from the bedroom floor and got dressed. Tsunade proceeded to do the same. Tsunade-sama, get out of here already, Shizune's voice said from the other side of the door. Even back in Konoha, I still have to be the responsible one. Oh, my eyes hurt. Let me turn down my brightness real quick. This brightness is literally killing me. Because I'm recording this really late, at like 11:52. I'm awake, I still need a few minutes to get ready. Just don't come in. And what is taking you so long? Shizune asked as she opened the door and came into the room, only to be greeted with an image of her mentor and Jiraiya half naked, trying to get dressed as half as possible. Both Sanin smiled at her sheepishly. Shizune let out a eep and quickly left, slamming the door shut. It's okay, I didn't see anything. Just take all the time you need. To say that breakfast time that morning was awkward would be a massive understatement. They all ate their breakfast without uttering a word. Shizune feeding Naruto while she actively avoided looking at the two Sanin in front of her. Tsunade, however, couldn't bear the silence anymore and opened her mouth to speak. Shizune, what you just saw, none of my business, Shizune said matter-of-factly. We're all adults here, just tell me beforehand so we don't run into more unfortunate situations, the young Konoichi said without turning her head to look at her mentor. This time it was Jiraiya who tried to speak. Listen, Shizune, she, listen, Shizune. Tsunade, Hime, and I aren't. Do you think we should talk about that in front of Naruto? Shizune interrupted again. Both Sanin looked at the blonde toddler, happily enjoying his food and ignoring their conversation that was going on in front of them. They could pretty much be talking about Minato and Kushina, and he'd pay as much attention. But then again, he had to admit Shizune had a point. That wasn't something to be discussed in front of a little kid. Now, if you excuse me, today I have gate duty, Shizune said once she had finished feeding Naruto and eating her own breakfast, and laughed. Uh, I think I'll get, I think I'll get going too. I don't want to keep my contact waiting. Hopefully, I'll get some more hint on the QB attack. Jiraiya said, clearly dying to get out of that house. Will you take care of Naruto? Yeah, I'll keep him in the hospital daycare. Tsunade replied, sorry. So, see you later. Alright then. Goodbye. I need more water. This chapter is not over soon. Yes, that's good. Shizune was hoping that if she focused on work, maybe it'll remove the image of Tsunade and Jiraiya naked, sharing the same bed, but gate duty was more boring and uneventful, but she couldn't distract her mind with something else. Over the 2 years that Tsunade and her had been living under the same roof as Jiraiya, Shizune had noticed that their relationship became smoother little by little. During the first few weeks, they used to argue a lot and tried to avoid each other as much as possible. If Jiraiya was in the living room, Tsunade wouldn't go there until the Toad Sage left first. If Tsunade and her were having dinner in the dining room, Jiraiya would wait until they were finished before he would have dinner himself. The only time the two of them were together was when they spent time with Naruto. Then the arguments became less and less frequent, until they disappeared completely. Tsunade and Jiraiya were able to have civilized conversations, and seemed to tolerate each other enough that they stopped avoiding each other, as if they were finally getting used to each other's constant presence, and even enjoying it. One day, the medic ninja apprentice couldn't sleep as she heard the voices coming down from the living room. When she opened, she instantly recognized the two Sanin. She then learned that whenever the two of them couldn't sleep, they would get up, have a drink, and talk. This became a tradition, with both staying awake until late in the night, regardless if they were suffering from insomnia or not, drinking and talking with each other. But even with how much their relationship improved, Shizune could have never guessed in a million years that they would end up sleeping together. After her uncle Dan had died, Shizune never saw her master showing the barest interest in the opposite gender again. due to her beauty and generous pair of assets. Okay, Tsunade was attracted. No, she's on. Oh, I can't talk. Tsunade attracted many men, which she ended up rebuffing, sometimes without even looking at them first. Those who took her rejection badly ended up in the hospital. Alright, your paper seems to be in order. I hope you enjoy your stay at Konoha, Shizune said to a merchant as he just crossed the gates. She then returned to her initial track of thoughts. Shizune had an ambivalent feeling towards this morning's shocking developments. On the other side, she wanted to shake that image from her mind. Tsunade was the closest thing she had to a mother, and nobody wants to think about their parents having sex. But on the other hand, she was feeling happy that apparently somebody was able to tear down the emotional barriers the blonde Sonin erected around her heart for years. She deserves to be happy. That's a very interesting choice of words, I will admit. Excuse me, a voice said that it snapped Shizune out of her trance. She blinked and saw Konoha Jonin looking at her. She had dark brown hair tied into a ponytail and a goatee. Oh, sorry, what may I do for you? Shizune asked the Jonin. My name is Yuki Minazuki, Jonin sensei of Team 2. My team is about to take their first mission out of the village, the Jonin explained. Alright, Shizune said as she wrote down everything Yuki said. I'll need the name of your genin, please. Sure, there's Shinko Inari, Tenma Izumo, and Itachi Uchiha. Shizune was taken aback when she heard the last name. She then looked at the genin that were waiting a few meters behind their sensei. She saw a boy that was about 10 or 11 years old with gray spiky hair, wearing a dull blue shirt and black pants. Besides him was a girl the similar age with the same hair color, styled into two pigtails that curved upward, and was wearing that a maroon t-shirt that exposed her belly, dark blue shorts, and a cap on her head. And lastly, there was another kid, much younger than the other two, who Shizune identified as the kid she met on the grocery store a year ago. She saw a few more times whenever she went on a walk. Uh, 1 second. Who the fuck is that? Okay. I'm not sure if my mic's still working right now. I really hope it is. It seems it's working here, but I don't know if it's loud enough. Um, Itachi-kun, is that you? Shizune asked. Oh, hi Shizune-san, Itachi said as he waved at her. Are you getting already? Shizune asked, her eyes wide open. Itachi just nodded. But how old are you? 7.5? But you're so young. Well, Itachi is quite talented, Yuki spoke up. I was quite surprised when they told me that he was the rookie of the year. He was the rookie of the year of his promotion. Chizune was left speechless. Not only his kid graduated years before the average Genin, but doing so as the best of his class was something beyond amazing. Granted, she knew that both Tsunade and Jiraiya had graduated academy when they were just 6, but she never expected to meet another prodigy of the same caliber. We're going on our first C-rank mission, isn't it great? Itachi said, beaming. Now, if everything is in order, I'd like to continue with our mission, please, Yuki said. Oh, yes, of course. Good luck out there. You'll tell me how it went when you get back, Itachi-kun, Shizune said as she waves at Itachi and his team. Thank you, Shizune-san. And yeah, I will, Itachi said, waving back. Guess that they weren't exaggerating when they talked about the prowess of the Uchiha. Wonder if they're under the tutelage of Tsunade-sama and Jiraiya-sama. Naruto-kun will be able to Wonder if under the tutelage of Tsunade-sama and Jiraiya-sama, Naruto-kun will be able to become a Genin that soon. Shizune mused to herself. I'm sorry, I can't talk right now. I think it's 'cause, I'm tired. Night fell over Konoha once again. While Shizune and Naruto were asleep once again, Jiraiya and Tsunade were having their usual late night drinking session, except there was two key differences. The first one was that they were sitting at the opposite ends of the living room couch in an awkward attempt to put as much space between each other as possible. And second, there was no sake, despite both Sani under undying adoration of the burning brew. They weren't going to take any chances after what happened the previous night. Dry cleared his throat. So, how's your day, Hime? Good. Today came a pregnant woman who gave birth to triplets, Tsunade answered without looking at him. Oh, triplets, you don't see that every day, Dry replied. And how's your hemophobia going? Good too. Therapy is working fine. I'm making some progress, even if it's at a slow pace. My therapist said that I will be able to perform surgery in 2 years. That's something great to hear. And what about you? How's your meeting with that spy? Good, I guess. He shared some information about this new ministry group that seems to be interested in the tailed beast. I'll have to investigate that in the future. It's good to know that we're getting closer to. Oh, screw this, Tsunade shouted, throwing her hand into the air. Fortunately, she didn't wake up the two youths sleeping upstairs. Is it something I said? No, it's this. I mean, we're in our 40s and here we are acting like a couple of emotionally disabled teenagers, having some small talk in a pathetic attempt. Oh my god, my eyes hurt from looking at a screen. Having some small talk in a pathetic attempt to ignore what we did last night. You want to talk about it? Like hell I do, but before we talk, Tsunade said as she walked towards the drink cabinet and grabbed 2 cups and a few sake bottles. Let's have a drink. Tsunade poured the sake on the 2 cups, and both Sonny drank them in one go. So, do you feel better? Tsunade asked. Yeah, I guess, but I could do with another cup, Jiraiya said. Tsunade obliged and poured him more sake. Alright, Jiraiya. Now I want you to answer me this honestly. No lies. Do you still like me? Jiraiya sighed as he gulped down the second cup of sake. Tsunade would expect a yes or no answer, but not even the Totani knew the extent of his feelings towards his former teammate. I don't know, I guess. You guess? Come on, Jiraiya, try a bit harder. Take another drink if you need it. I know I used to like you, and I tried to get over my feelings for you since I knew we weren't meant to be together, and I thought that I moved on. Then plenty of this shit happened, and suddenly I'm raising a kid with you. I thought that taking care of Naruto would be like doing a mission. But seeing you every day, our late night talk being Naruto parents, I think they rekindled those feelings. I see. What about you, Tsunade? Do you find yourself attracted to me all of a sudden? Because I know there ain't no man on this world who can trick you, much less force you to share a bed with him. I'm not sure. I guess I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't give you a specific answer after I forced you to give me one. I don't know when it happened, but suddenly I started growing more fond of you each passing day. I didn't know if it was just fondness or if it was something more. To be honest, I've been an emotional mess since I left Konoha. Dry chuckled. Heh, I can relate to that. Drya, the rules that I established when we started living together. What about them? Did I break any? No, and that's what surprised me the most. You didn't do any of your research or any perverted stuff I was expecting you to do. You're hoping to win some points with me by just sticking to my rules. No, listen, Tsunade, what happened yesterday surprised me as much as it surprised you. Then why did you decide to follow those rules then? I might not have been trying to woo you anymore, but I never stopped caring about you. I know I'm not the easiest person to live with. That's why I've been trying to suppress my least admirable traits in order to give you an easy time. You deserve as much as that. I will thank you for that. I know I haven't been the easiest housemate either. Looking back, I was a total bitch to you when we first moved here. You know, you could have set some rules for me as well. That's okay. I didn't find it necessary. Really? What wasn't there anything I did but you wanted me to stop? A couple of things, but minor enough not to warrant something like a rule. Plus, those offenses aren't hard to ignore when the offender is so easy to the eyes. Jirai said with a wide grin as he shot Tsunade a devious look. Tsunade scowled and punched him in the shoulder. See, that's what I'm talking about. You were doing so good and you just had to ruin it. Come on, you wouldn't like me if I changed everything about me, right? I like you better when you're not a pervert. Aha, you admit you like me at least. Tsunade opened her eyes wide, stunned. I did? After a few seconds of silence, she let out a small smile on her face. I guess so. I guess I do. There's no point in denying it. So what do we do now? Do we go on a date or something? Actually, let's take this slow, okay? I might have admitted that I have some feelings for you, but I still need to put my thoughts in order before we can take this any further. It's okay. I've been dreaming for this moment for decades. I can't wait. I can wait a little more. Good to know. Good to know that. As for now, we might not go on a date. And there were a couple of bottles of sake. There are a couple of bottles of sake that have been on the dates with our livers. Tsunade said as she poured some sake on her and Jiraiya's cups. They spent the rest of the night casually chatting while drinking, resembling what they usually did the previous night. Shizune woke up the next morning as usual. After getting dressed, she walked towards Tsunade's bedroom. Tsunade-sama, are you awake? It's time to get up. Shizune said after knocking at the door, but there was no answer. She knocked the door again. Tsunade-sama? Fearing the worst, the young Chunin opened the door slowly. After working up some courage, she dared to peek inside, but much to her surprise, the room was empty, and bed was made. Weird, Tsunade never wakes up earlier than her. Oh well, guess there's first time for everything, Shizune said as she walked downstairs. However, upon reaching the living room, she saw something way worse than the image of the previous morning, which also made her realize why the bed was made. Tsunade didn't sleep in her room at all. Oh dear, Kami! Shizune shouted in horror as she rushed back upstairs. That's the only couch we have. What happened? Uh, did you just see them Jiraiya railing Tsunade? Hello, I'd love to be in his position. I'm joking. I'm not joking. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. um, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was very fun. Or it was nice to make. I'm a bit tired right now, so I'll probably edit this tomorrow. But that's all I have to say. So goodbye. Have a nice day or night wherever you are, and I don't know. Yeah, bye.